Chag Sameach, everyone. I'm standing in front of our beautiful Sukkah that we built, which is right behind our beautiful synagogue. You know, Palm Beach is a funny place. There was a story last week in the news that there's this home that was built here in Palm Beach, right on North Ocean Boulevard. It was built in 2016, just 6 years ago. And no one has ever lived in it yet. It's a mansion, 36,000 square feet. And it was purchased just last year for $110 million. And the owner is going to demolish the home, raze it to the ground, and build a bigger home on that spot. And here we come to the profound moral lesson of the holiday of Sukkot. You see, in this town of Palm Beach, this simple home, dwelling, hut right behind me is the simplest, poorest little structure in this town. But what God is telling us is that we just came from the high holidays, Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. And what did we ask God to do? Inscribe us in the book of life. What we're saying is, God, no matter how much security we have in our lives, no matter how grand our luxurious homes are, we are just temporary dwellers on this earth. And we have to ask you, plead with you, to grant us another year of life, because ultimately life and the gift of life is in your hands. And this is the lesson of the Jewish people on the holiday of Sukkot. You know, other nations came and built grand fortresses and large religious structures and built their strength on physical power. But the Jewish people go back to our humble beginnings. We sit in the Sukkah and remember that we were just wanderers in the desert. We were slaves in Egypt. Because when you become too powerful and too secure, unfortunately, you could become decadent, and then you could decline and fall as a nation. By remaining humble and remembering your origins and your simple, humble beginnings, and your gratitude to God for bringing you to this point, then you could sit in the humblest little sukkah and invite God to dwell with you. Because you don't need a big mansion to invite God into your home. And you don't need a big mansion to invite guests and family and friends into your home. All you need is a simple abode with a little bit of shade above, and you look towards the heaven, and with faith and love, you can make a dwelling place for God wherever you are. And indeed, the rabbis tell us that the synagogue, which is right next to our sukkah, represents not the temples that were built in Jerusalem, the two temples that were destroyed by the Babylonians and the Romans, but it represents the tabernacle in the desert. How ironic that the permanent structures of the temples were destroyed by our enemies, but the tabernacle, the temporary makeshift hut for dwelling for God, continues to live on in every Jewish community, where the synagogue is a replica of the traveling Mishkan and tabernacle. And what God teaches us is that wherever a Jew is, wherever a human being is, they could invite God into their life. They could look to the heavens and remember their faith in God and that God is watching over them. And you could capture eternity in one moment of joy, in the most humblest, simplest abode. It's a story that happened just a few months ago in Montreal. There's a soccer league. And in this soccer league, there was a religious Orthodox boy by the name of Mati Abrahami who played in the soccer league. And one day he shows up, and there was a new referee, and the referee calls him over and says, "What's that on your head?" He says, "That's my kippah." He said, "Well, you're not allowed to wear it during the soccer game. You're only allowed to wear the authorized sports gear." And this religious boy looked at the coach, at the referee, and he said, "I don't understand. My teammates wear bandanas. Why can't I wear a yarmulke, a kippah?" And he says, "I don't have to tell you why. That's the rules." Well, he went to his coach and he said, "I can't play without my kippah." So the coach went to speak to the referee, and the referee insisted, "You cannot wear the kippah. It's not part of the authorized gear for the game." The coach went and told everyone on the team, "Take a knee, get down on the ground." He told him what happened. He said, "If he can't play, none of us are playing." Well, the referee came along and said, "If you don't play, you're going to forfeit the game and the other team is going to win." Well, at that point, the coach of the other team told his team to take a knee and said, "If he can't play and they don't play, we're not playing either." At this point, the referee didn't know what to do, and he was forced to allow little Mati Abrahami to wear his kippah. You see, a Jew could put a yarmulke on his head, no matter where they are, on the soccer field or in a simple abode, a hut, put the schach overhead and bathe in the divine glory. Have a Chag Sameach.